Welcome to this tutorial on BPCOM Manager, the software developed by CRE Technology to configure and monitor the BP1024COM and BP2024COM battery chargers. Together, we'll see how to connect the software to a charger, monitor its measurements in real time, and configure its charging parameters. To link the software to the charger, the connection between the PC and the product is made through a USB to RS485 converter. This converter is sold separately. When you launch BPCOM Manager, you arrive on the home page. To establish communication with the charger, click Access Connection. On the connection page, several fields need to be filled in. The slave number is already set to 131. This is the default value, so there's no need to change it. The serial COM port is selected automatically. All that's left is to choose the connected charger model, either the BP1024COM or the BP2024COM. As for the timeout, you can leave it as it is. There's no need to modify it. Once these fields are checked, click Connect. When the link is established, the button turns green and displays Connected. At the bottom right of the screen, the online indicator appears in green, along with the reference of the selected product. One note, at any time you can change the software language, which is available in French, English, and Spanish. Now let's move to the Supervision tab. This is where the charger's main measurements are displayed in real time. First, you'll find the battery voltage in direct current, followed by the battery current. In our case, since no battery is connected, this indicator stays at 0. The AC mains voltage is also shown. Next comes the charge status. The charger can be in one of three phases: constant current, constant voltage, or floating voltage. Here, with no battery connected, the status shown is undefined. But keep in mind that these three states exist in real operation. The battery temperature is displayed as well, provided the NTC probe is connected. If it isn't, as in this demonstration, the default value shown is 25 degrees Celsius. Finally, if there's any anomaly, the list of active alarms appears on this same page. Let's move on to the Configuration tab. This is where you adjust the charging parameters. The first setting is the constant current. It can be adjusted in three ways: by dragging the slider, by typing the value directly on the keyboard, or by moving the corresponding point on the charging curve. These same three methods apply to all the settings that follow. Next, you set the constant voltage, again with these three options. Then the taper current, that is the current that triggers the transition to the next phase. And finally, the floating voltage, which can also be adjusted in three ways. The software also lets you enable a timer, or timeout, for three phases: constant current, constant voltage, and floating voltage. Be careful. This point is important. If the charger stays in one of these phases beyond the set delay, it goes into fault. You'll then need to disconnect both its AC power and battery connections in order to reset it. So these optional protections should be used with great caution. By default, all three timers are disabled and grayed out. They're not accessible in the settings. One thing to remember about the number of stages: the choice between 2 stages, constant current and constant voltage, or 3 stages, constant current, constant voltage, and floating voltage, is made exclusively through DIP switch 1 at the hardware level. So there's nothing to do about it in the software. The software also handles temperature compensation. If the NTC probe has been connected to the charger and installed on the batteries, the applied voltage is compensated according to temperature. 3 slopes are available: plus or minus 3, 4, or 5 millivolts per degree Celsius for a 2-volt cell, which corresponds to plus or minus 36, 48, or 60 millivolts for a 24-volt battery. The principle is simple. The higher the temperature, the lower the DC voltage applied to the batteries. The low battery voltage alarm threshold can also be adjusted from this page. An essential point: for every parameter change, you must click the Apply Parameters button at the bottom right to actually send the new values to the charger. Without this, the changes are not transmitted. Finally, the software lets you export a configuration and save it to the PC. You can then re-import this configuration to load it back into the software, which saves you from re-entering each value manually. You now know how to connect the BPCOM Manager software to a charger, monitor its measurements, and configure its charging parameters. The software is completely free and available for download on our website. Thank you for watching this tutorial.